Well, I start by saying that I have a problem. When I came this morning and Kathleen from Magento asked merchants to raise their hands, and only two persons raised their hands, so I felt like an outsider. What am I doing here? So I'm not familiar with Gits. I don't know the structure of Magento catalogs, so I thought I'm a stranger here. But I left. I remained, stayed here to tell you what was done at Castorama and the AY chain, but I don't know the technicalities, so please excuse me for lack of knowledge, lack of expert knowledge. So, well, when we started the project, we are fully responsible for it. We didn't know back then how many challenges there would be, but fortunately, we have managed to successfully deal with those challenges, but there are other challenges waiting for us. So, objectives for the project. The main assumption was presentation of product catalog. Catalog understood as product tree and specific products sold. Because now at the DIY stores, because now Castorama's site is not an online store, so you have no online sales. It doesn't mean that we don't want to do it or we don't know how to do it, but that's because Castorama, DIY chain, are not selling products online. That's one of the business ideas they have. But there was no product presentation because Castorama didn't have a uniform consolidated product catalog. They had a very simple product database, like an Excel spreadsheet with several columns. There was nothing to publish. So a lot of work had to be done for product data to be obtained, uploaded or exported. And another objective for the project was to adjust the total site. We didn't have those corporate identity boxes. We had to adjust the layout on the site for the new corporate identity, which is partly also reflected in stores. And another objective was to publish graphics inspirations to buy products. And the last objective was to have a publication of such leaflets, like small folders monthly and thick folders annually, that were distributed in shops, and in such folders or brochures. Well, in fact, this is the driving force for any retailer. So until last month, we published it as dedicated to categories in the three. Now these are going to be interactive brochures and mobile service and also stationery of service. You can choose catalog and put it on your purchasing list, but it is not really for purchasing. It's that you can go to a brick and mortar store, DIY store, and just use it as a list of products or list to buy. So it's a mobile solution used for mobile devices. And also there are different graphics or text and graphics, like a device text about the environment, but this is all product oriented. One of the main objectives of the service is for the service to lead users to products and then to guide them or lead them to brick-and-mortar shops or stores, because there is no online sale functionality. I met a gentleman from Holland. I don't know if he's here. He used the term loop hook as sale. You can see it, but you can't buy it here. And in Castorama, they're not even publishing some of the prices. They're only giving some of the prices online. And we're also responsible for the entire service content. Well, all the graphics, the team responsible for it, to either have only graphics or text in the graphics. We then write the text. What they have in common, all of them, they are to lead to products. Sometimes there are banners which are unrelated to products, but some other campaigns. But we are responsible for all the content. And this is a huge challenge, because it happens that, it frequently happens that you have to do it immediately. We requested to do it immediately, and we sometimes have to discipline the customer, because you or our client to know that, if you want to do it properly and well, you can't do it, in a second. Mailing subscribers database around 100,000 people, emails sent, usually weekly, information about products, promos. You're also responsible for it. So I'm not an expert in Magento, but when I was asked to show the greatest challenges in terms of Magento, when it comes to database management, there are many attributes. And attribute books, you see those considerable figures. And in the service, we only have a part of the products which are there in the brick-and-mortar stores. So it was a challenge for the service, for the portal, and in terms of Magento also. Castorama didn't have a systematic database, a complete database, with products which would be comprehensive. They didn't have anything. So then we created the product tree, and then we had to obtain data concerning the products. Another firm does it. And we were provided with 250 or 300 such templates. Who of you knows the tool for importing? But it appeared that the tool needed to be modified. 2 or 3 plugins for the tool, so in order to handle it reasonably. What does the site look like? 1,300,000 visitors for the last month. Some traffic. The traffic needs to be provided with quick search capabilities, and with the number of attributes, the infrastructure, the organization of all that was a challenge. And recently, on the 28th of October, we had a record day with such parameters, you see, the visitors, etc. But you could handle it efficiently. What are users doing? They do what Castorama wants them to do. Well, the layout is not very complex. It meets the requirements. Most users are browsing the product catalog, 5% each, and 7% stores. This is what Castorama wants. They don't have online sales because they say that is the corporate policy. So we ready for it, but they know what they're doing because the DIY retail chain has been growing very well. They have very good results. So I think they know what they're doing, and we don't want to instruct them, to give them any lessons. And the website had good results in usability testing in spring this year. We're satisfied, but this is not about satisfaction, but the research shows that we don't need any radical changes, because it wouldn't be nice to make radical changes 3 months after we launched the website. So happily we don't have to make any such radical changes, and in spring next year we'll have those tests repeated, and we were audited independently. It's not me, it's Director Krzysztof Szymański from Castorama, who is from the marketing department, who is responsible for e-commerce. He is the e-commerce director, but in fact there is no e-commerce at Castorama. He is laughing. I don't know whether he's smiling at the camera or he is smiling because he's happy, but we have the certificate and we're happy. Why Magento Enterprise? Because we started with Magento Professional. We didn't start with Community because we didn't want to, and this is what we suggested. Castorama, we didn't want to buy a solution for such a large corporation without support. Not us, because we don't buy it through resellers. There's direct contact with Magento. That's what it looks like. So Castorama, DIY chain, bought Professional and Enterprise. We decided to switch to Enterprise. Some of the selected features of Enterprise provided by Magento. Well, content staging is very important. I'll tell you what it is used for in Castorama. Full-page caching affects the speed, and the non-standard Solar search, very important with such a number of attributes, advanced backup, and data encryption. These are the features and functionalities of Magento which are important, and these features are important for us. And we convinced Castorama that is worth spending money on Magento Enterprise, and I think that decision was right. When I was preparing the presentation, I was wondering what is the most important feature that is worth mentioning. The overall importance in the project. You know the guy. And he said that the economy is stupid. He used to say that, his slogan. In the Oval Office, it was not only the economy he was preoccupied with, but it's important. What is important in the entire project is stability. So we say stability is stupid, because no one would like to be in such a situation. I don't mean the weight, but the boat. No one would like to be in such a situation. You can have superb layout, excellent service, smashing products, but without stability you have nothing, because your users will be leaving. So we take care to have the stability. An illustration from colleagues, many servers, backup developers, server separated. I can't tell you the details, but we have a very elaborate infrastructure. with monitoring by people 24 hours a day, sometimes we have traffic on the website early in the morning, because people who go to construction sites, they look up for things in the morning. So we can have traffic at strange hours. So we need to have the monitoring in place, and we used content staging, among other things, to provide the opportunity to give more power to the people, to edit so that stores could edit information about stores. It used to be the case that the central marketing department could only had to do everything, but now opening hours and things that can be done by store personnel locally, including events such as workshops, DIY workshops, so also this grape picking and other in Zielona Góra and other grape harvest and other events. With content staging, the central headquarters can approve data or content before publication using Magento. But whereas in Magento didn't have this granular access control, so we had to make the access control granular, so the department couldn't change the opening hours of the store. But now, well, we don't have the pricing systems connected, but the recruitment system is connected, so the data in this on the website is taken directly from the Castorama's recruitment system. In the job section, 3% of visitors, that's an important thing, and Castorama is a large employer. So the website is an important place to recruit. So there's the integration which we have online. So, well, ladies in the HR department feed in data, and the data is available here. So the project is managed in several areas. We have the system to manage all the tasks, and I'm not talking about JITs and comments. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the management of all the tasks, not dividing them into programming, creative, and others. They all here, so they will see whether we don't have too much of a gap between the green and red line or curve, because then it would mean that we are receiving too much data compared with what we can publish. And a system where, using the web, you can provide Castorama different proposals for projects. So Castorama can make changes, or they can accept what we have prepared. Our plan for next year, it's the application which would be dedicated, because now it's not an application. Now it's a possibility to browse on mobile devices, iOS and Android application, and to connect to prices. Wouldn't be easy, because Castorama has around 60 different prices for one product. In different store, they have different prices, because they have local competition. The highest prices are in Warsaw. But then locally, the prices in Castorama's brick and mortar stores can vary. So in this desktop service, we will publish the price, but then in QR, using the QR code, you can check the price in a different store, in a different location, to buy it cheaper. All right, so I'm on time. Any questions? But please, non-technical questions, please. That's the information I can't give you. It's not displayed in the catalog. So product sums more than 500,000. No, because Castorama divides products not into a tree. It has 4 groups, A, B, C, and D. Group A are 60,000 products. And these are the products which have to be there in all the stores, 60,000, so we're not talking about 500,000. So the complexity doesn't result from the number of products, but from the complexity of the description of the products. And capacity or efficiency, yes, but non-technical, please. It's not Magento operation. So parts of Magento, we trained personnel. No one is using Magento there. We're doing everything. There are people who are not using Magento as an admin tool, but there are people who have access to the tree, to the menu of products, to edit them, but usually they added individual products or only a couple of them, so there's panic because a product is published on the website, but then they say we have to remove it. So there are people at Castorama who can remove it, but they have no global website management in place. But people from the HR had to be trained on the use of this website. This is what we're doing. So non-technical. Another question, please, non-technical.
Tak. Yes, we are doing this. We send this information to the marketing department of Castorama, but what happens to that information, we do not know. It falls in that black hole, and that's it. But we can laugh at it. But Castorama is making loads of money, so they know what to do with it. We are doing this. We show them what people are looking for and what's not there. Everyone was looking for doors, for example. Doors, 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 doors. And there were no doors in the beginning. Doors, external doors, inner doors. Give us doors because people are looking for doors. So we were communicating this, then we've given up, and then suddenly they decided for doors to appear. If Krzysiek Szymański was here, he would explain it to you, but he's not here. Technical, non-technical. Well, again, the interpreters can't hear the questions, so sorry, we cannot translate them for you. It was the question is how we coped with the product database. There was nothing to process in the beginning. There was range A, a products were called. It was called Kos Nosh 10. Range A price. That's the product database you have. Publish it on website without any pictures. So in the beginning it was that we asked for product tree to be created. They made really strange faces, and there were conflicts between various departments, like in a big corporation, because someone wanted to get part of the pie, whatever the pie was. So now the product tree was established, was created. So now, what about the products? It started with Castorama trying to generate it internally so that managers responsible for particular product ranges to prepare them. So it was a complete failure because everyone pushed it back as one last task. No one was doing it. Then there was a second attempt, second approach by an external company. We were not doing this. To collect the information about the products, it failed. But now there is a company, well, for some time they've had a company who is effectively collecting the data about products from suppliers over the internet. If it's Bosch or some brands like that, it's easy to collect information. The problem with Castorama was that they were doing a great business, but they did not have a systematic product database. The only place where it exists is here, on the website. That's the only place where it exists. So we receive certain forms They do it in Excel, and we import those forms. Well, half the problem is where it is regular. Then we create various gits, commits, whatever it is. It goes to Magento and it is published. If there's a number of products with ready-made attributes, half of them have pictures. They didn't have pack shots, they didn't have descriptions of products, and they didn't have pack shots. So there's only half of the problem if we have some forms and we have to import it. But if we receive 300 forms and they were supposed to be imported for tomorrow, and that's the way it is, and it is a big customer, and we are very happy and we are very proud to work for this brand. We only do what we can do. If there are 300 forms with errors, sometimes there are mistakes in those forms. That's what it is. As an external company collects the data, it is verified by Castorama and sent to us. Now the plan is to create a web-based system that will allow for people who collect the data to put it directly into something that will visually resemble Excel, but will not be Excel. So it will be rolled out in January, in the first quarter next year, but not directly to Magento. One last question: is there any correlation between the navigation on the store website and the location of products on shelves in the brick-and-mortar store? No, there is no correlation. It's a pity that Krzysztof is not here, because he would be able to tell you more about that. At Castorama it is so that we sit down and we say it has to be correlated. If we roll out a mobile service with every row of shelves, there should be a roll-up saying we have a mobile service, because many people enter the shop with their mobile devices and they could click something there. But this is something that hits the wall, and we have convinced, we found out a couple of times that they have their internal marketing-based justifications or excuses for not doing this. In the beginning I was surprised that they don't do it, but they know what they want. They have. So the response is no, there is no correlation, and it's a pity that it's not there, because it should be there. Because this is where we can see what people want. When people are walking around the store, we know what they are purchasing, but we do not know what they want, like the doors here. Any other questions? Technical or not? I can see someone there. Again, we can't hear the question. Castorama is not a Polish company. It used to be a French company, but several years ago it was purchased by an even larger company, Kingfisher. Again, we can't hear the question if there's no microphone in use. I would love to have all Castorama stores in the world as customers. That's the plan, but I cannot give you an answer to this question. Thank you.